Herkese merhabalar, iyi akşamlar diliyoruz. Ben İmran Mehmet, British Education Bureau, BEB'den eğitim uzmanı olarak bugün sizlerle British Council IELTS eğitmeni Hazan Hayaloğlu hocayla birlikte IELTS eğitimi düzenliyor olacağız. Sözü ben Hazan hocaya bırakmadan önce çok kısa kurumumuzla ilgili birkaç bilgi aktarmak istiyorum. British Education Bureau yani BEB olarak bizler British Council IELTS Sınav Merkezi, resmi kayıt merkezi olarak ve aynı zamanda Birleşik Krallık ve İrlanda'daki üniversitelerin resmi temsilcisi olarak Türkiye'de görev üstleniyoruz. Resmi temsilcisi olduğumuz üniversitelerin Türkiye'deki tanıtım faaliyetlerini gerçekleştiriyoruz. Aynı zamanda bu üniversitelerin Türkiye'deki organizasyonlarıyla ilgili sorumluluk sahibiyiz. 2002 yılında Oxford'da kuruldu. İngiliz ve Türk kuruculara sahip bir yapımız mevcuttu. 21 yıldır Ankara, İstanbul, İzmir ve İstanbul'daki ofislerimizde öğrencilerimize hizmet sağlamaya devam ediyoruz. Tüm danışmanlık kadromuz İngiltere ve İrlanda eğitim sistemine hakim. Buralardaki giriş şartları olsun, başvuru süreçleri olsun, vize, konaklama gibi tüm aşamalarda yıllardır çalışan bir kadroya sahibiz. Bu kapsamda tüm danışmanlık kadromuz dediğim gibi İngiltere'deki eğitim sistemiyle ilgili uzmanlaşmış durumda. İrlanda ve Birleşik Krallık'ta toplam 150 civarı üniversite bulunuyor. Bizler BEB olarak bu 150 üniversitenin 90'ının Türkiye'deki resmi temsilcisiyiz. Ve bu kapsamda da bahsetmiş olduğum gibi başvuru, konaklama, vize gibi tüm aşamalarda öğrencilerimize ücretsiz danışmanlık hizmeti sağlıyoruz. Bizleri sosyal medya hesaplarımızdan QR kodunu okutarak ve web sitemiz üzerinden etkinliklerimizi ve ilerleyen süreçteki iletişim süreçleriyle ilgili bu QR koduyla ulaşma şansınız olabilir. Yine aynı şekilde benzer telefon numaralarımız üzerinden de bizlerle iletişime geçebilirsiniz. Çok teşekkür ederim. Ben sözü Hazan Hoca'ya bırakıyorum. Çok teşekkürler Hazan Hoca.
Thank you, Mr. Mehmet. Welcome, everyone. I'll be speaking in English. I hope you guys can follow. I'm from the British Council, as you know, and today we are here to help you acquire, get the score that you want, that you desire in the IELTS exam. So this presentation will cover, of course, the general format, what is IELTS, what you are expected to do, and each skill. We have 4 skills. I'll be dealing with each skill separately. And please feel free to ask your questions. You can type them in the chat box, okay? And I'll be answering them at the end of each section. I hope everything is clear. So I'll be starting with the listening speaking sections. Of course, first of all, I will talk about what IELTS is. As you know, IELTS stands for the International English Language Testing System, and it is proudly co-owned by British Council, IDP, and Cambridge Assessment English. It's the world's most popular English test, by the way, and it is designed to assess your English language abilities if you want to study abroad, yeah? Whether for graduate level or undergraduate level, you will have to take the IELTS. Of course, I'll be talking about the distinction between the general training and the academic one. But if you want to study, you will have to take the academic one, okay? Let's keep that in mind. Also, you might need to get UKVI. So we always tell the test takers to double check, okay? Always double check with the receiving institution so you'll know which test to take. So, like I said, it's the world's most popular English test. let's do a quick poll. You can write in the chat box so you can also learn where it is and how to use it if you're not familiar. Can you guess? I'm asking everyone. Can you guess how many people took the IELTS last year in the world? Do you have any guesses? You can type in the chat box 100 million. Okay, 150,000. Okay, we have very high, somewhere in between. Okay, nobody's getting close. Oh, we have 3 million there. Good. Yes, 3.5 million people. Yes, you got it. Very good. Okay, let me ask you another one. How many institutions or organizations around the world accept the IELTS? Recognize the IELTS? In the world, can you guess? In the world. Okay. Nobody got it yet. No. Okay, nobody got it. I'm a little bit disappointed. But we have some high numbers, which is good. Okay, 11,000 organizations worldwide accept the IELTS. Okay. Let's talk about the test format. Like I said, we have 4 key skills: reading, listening, writing, and speaking. Quickly, I'll ask you another question. Which skill do you find most challenging? Reading, listening, speaking, writing. It's kind of mixed. Mostly, I think I saw writing and speaking. Am I right? Imran Hocam can also check maybe.
Yes, I'm just checking.
We have a few listening. That's what I noticed.
Yes.
Mostly speaking, yes, and writing. Productive skills, yes. Those are the skills where we need to produce something. All right. Let's keep talking about the test format. We have international English. So don't think of this exam as a British test. Okay, although it is designed by British institutions, it is testing English internationally. So all accents are welcome. All right, there is no cultural or linguistic bias. Don't try to speak with British accent. If you have American accent, no problem. Our speaking test is done one-on-one. So you sit with the examiner and communicate, yeah, interactive, which is, I think, an advantage. We have 2 types of delivery. You can choose between paper-based and computer-delivered one. If you're good with computers and if you want your scores in a short time, I recommend you to take the CDI, computer-delivered one. But if you're used to writing or like touching the paper, that kind of exam style, you can choose the paper-based one. Yeah, it's up to you. And if you go on British Council's website, britishcouncil.turkey's website, you will see a tutorial, okay? Many tutorials actually about computer-delivered one. You have to watch those videos. Take IELTS.org, yeah? You can check it out. Okay, I think there's no need to talk about the security. It's the most secure test. Okay, let me ask you, how many years or how long do you think IELTS is valid? Your score How long is it valid? How long can you use your score? Good. Everybody knew. Actually, Ece is correct because some organizations also accept 3 years. It happens, but mostly the majority of organizations accept 2 years. Okay. We have frequent sessions held worldwide. You can get information, you can register also on, from our website. You will receive your results in 13 days if it's paper-based, and it takes much shorter for the CGI. Actually, shorter than 5 to 7 days, sometimes 3-4 days. We have a list of preparation materials, so I highly recommend you to take a look at our website, takeielts.org. You will see tons of preparation materials, and I'll be sharing a list of them at the end, so you can take a screenshot. Yes, we have 2 tests, basically, academic and general training one. The one you need if you want to study at a university, at an undergraduate or graduate level, you have to take the academic one, okay? And you take the general training one for employment and immigration. If you want to immigrate, I hope everyone understands immigrate. If you want to go and live in another country, you need to take the general training one. I will talk about the differences. As you see, we have the test format here. Total test time is 2 hours, 44 minutes, plus 10 minutes transfer time. If you're taking the computer one, you won't need this 10-minute transfer time, okay? There will be no extra time in the computer one. Only for the paper-based one, you have 10 extra minutes to transfer for the listening, okay? Listening takes about 30 minutes for each test. Reading is 60 minutes. For academic reading, we have 3 long academic texts, okay? But for general training one, we have shorter texts, which are about life in another country. Maybe the texts are taken from brochures, maybe from notices, okay, about employment, tourism, things like that. And there will be 1 long text, academic one. So this is the difference in the reading part. For writing, we have 60 minutes for 2 tasks. You have to complete both tasks, all right? For the academic one, the task 1 is about describing a chart, process, or a map. But general training 1 is writing a letter. You're supposed to write a letter, okay? And the essay, yes. For task 2, we have the essay for both academic and general training. Speaking lasts about 11 to 14 minutes, and it has 3 parts, the same. We're using a 9-band scale, as you see. What is your target IELTS score? Let me ask you. You can write in the chat box. What is your target score? Well, we have some high achievers, 8, 9. Yeah. 6 is the lowest, yeah? 6 is the, okay, there is no fail or pass. It's about the requirement, okay? Some universities require 6, some universities require 7. Of course, the higher, the better. If it's higher, you increase your chances for admission, okay? And also some schools have some other like extra requirements. They say, okay, I accept 6.5, but writing has to be 6.5. Okay, so always check with the institution about the requirements. Okay, perfect. So you receive a separate score for each section, and then these scores are averaged to reach your overall. Okay, so if you have 6, 6, 6.5, 6.5, what is the average? 6, 6, 6.5, 6.5, 6.25, right? And it is rounded up. 6.25 will be 6.5. Okay. So if you're not familiar with this scoring system, I can say 6 is like upper intermediate, the beginning of upper intermediate. Yeah. Like 7 is higher. 8 is like advanced. All right. So this is the test report form that you will be sent. You can receive up to 5 electronic report forms, but if you have a lot of applications, you can ask for more copies, okay? You just contact our office and you will be provided. There will be a charge, okay? So far, do you have any questions? Let me see your questions about the format, the overview, grading, sections, questions. I can't see any, by the way. I saw one question here. For college education, Emre Akaydın, you need to get the academic one. But like I said, maybe they're asking for UKVI, you know, so always check. UKVI is the same, the content, everything is the same as the academic one, but it comes with more security. Okay, so you get it comes with a stamp from the consulate. The price changes. The only difference is the price.
There is one more question about,
okay, let me see.
can academic be used also for immigration?
No, immigration is separate. Sudam asked a very good question. How can I get a higher score? That's why I'm here. Yes. Just by listening to the seminar, I think you can increase your score by half a band. So listen attentively. Yes, I talked about studying abroad. Of course, there are universities that you want to apply for. Check the admission requirements for language level. Uğurcan Kılıç, I explained UKVI. It's the same, yeah? Academic and UKVI, same test, but different security. Okay, we will talk about creating a study plan. This is a very good question. If you want to study on your own, of course, you will need a plan. When you say my result is B2, of course, I don't know your strengths or weaknesses, yeah? Personally, you need to determine, like, oh, I have to study, I have to do more listening. My listening score is low, or I have to do more writing practice. So you need to see, firstly, where your strengths and weaknesses are. Later, of course, okay, let me give you a quick example. You did a practice test and your score was 6, okay? And you want to get 7. You are targeting 7. And you want to know how long it takes to study. Of course, it depends on how intensive you're willing to study. Yes, if you write an essay every day, if you do speaking practice every day, of course, in a shorter time. But what I'm trying to say is that from, for instance, 5.5 to 6, it's a short path. Yeah, but from 6 to 7 will be a longer path. We're talking about one level. Okay, so it seems similar, 6, 7, but there's a huge difference actually. Think of it like intermediate and upper intermediate level. Yeah, you will need to put in a lot of effort. And you need to make a realistic schedule for that. Vanessa Wright asked the question about differences between CDI and paper-based. It's the same thing, the grading, the content, everything. The only difference is you answer the questions on a screen. Yeah. And of course, writing part will be more advantageous if you're taking the computer one, because you can type faster and you can see the word count on the screen. Yeah. For the other parts, again, we have functions thing. You can highlight, you can take notes. There is no difference, but please watch the tutorials. Take IELTS.org, okay? Watch the tutorials for CDI. You can see which button is where is the timer, how can I drag, how can I copy, paste, okay? For security, I have a section actually for the test day. Yes, there will be high security, no telephones, no drinks, food. You can only bring a bottle of water. You need to, of course, present your passport or whichever document you used when you're registering, ID or... Anyway, we'll talk about it. The prices you can find out on the website. Academic one can be used for your CV, of course. Security certificate comes from the consulate, yeah? Consulate stamp. There are many frequent sessions. Somebody asked about the times, the scheduling. You can also schedule, look at the schedule on the website. How many attempts? Okay, you can take the exam as many times as you want. Yeah, doesn't matter. And you can use the highest score. All right, are you ready for the listening part? I actually have good news for you. Most test takers receive the highest score in the listening part. Yeah, so this is good news. All right, so the listening test takes about 30 minutes. There is no need for time management because you just follow the recording. Yeah, the recording tells you what to do step by step. But listen and read the instructions very carefully. If it says, listen to the recording for the questions from 1 to 5, yeah, and then there's a pause. Don't try to read all the questions. Focus on those. And in the last section, there will be no breaks. You need to read everything. So you can do practice. Yeah, you have to do practice before taking the test. On our website, there are videos. Also, you can use YouTube. On YouTube, you can just type in IELTS listening practice. You will see many of them original. Just you know, I'm just telling you to help you out. There will be 4 sections with increasing difficulty. Yeah, the first section will be the easiest one, and the last section will be the most difficult one. You'll receive 1 mark per question. each section is played only once, okay? You only listen once. And in the recordings, you will hear a range of accents. You might hear British, American, Scottish, Australian. So before the test, if you're not familiar with other accents, maybe it's time to start practicing. Yeah, if you're used to hearing American accent all the time, maybe you should start watching something podcast or TV series, yeah, drama, British. Answers must be on answer sheet. Like I said, you will have 10 minutes. If you're taking the paper-based one, yeah, you will have 10 minutes to transfer your answers. Very important. Only for the listening. Anyway, invigilators will help you. Like I said, yes, you need to listen to instructions carefully. If there is an audience hearing problem, you must tell invigilators immediately. Yeah. So you will be given time before the recording starts. Yeah. Within that time, you need to read the question and underline the keywords. Yeah. And think about, what type of answer do I need? Do I need a noun, adjective, number, a date, a price, a person's name? Yeah. Predict. Try to predict the answers before the recording starts. There is no penalty for incorrect answers. So please take a guess, especially if it's multiple choice. Don't leave it blank. Okay. Spelling is important. Make sure you write down the right spelling. Actually, when you're listening, if you're taking the paper-based one, you're answering on the question booklet, no problem. But when you're transferring, be extra careful. All right. Capitalization is important. Capitalization means big letters, yeah, uppercase. So if you're not sure, you can write all your answers in capitals. You understand me? Everything in big letters you can write if you're not sure. But if you think, oh, I'm good with that, all right. You need to write clearly, because if markers cannot read your writing, they cannot mark it. We have many question types. Like I said, please get yourself familiar with all these question types before taking the test through practice tests. Watching TV series is not enough to improve your listening. Of course, necessary, but not enough. You need to do the practice tests. Here is a summary of the essentials. Yeah. Read and listen to the instructions. Look at the question. Think about what type of answer is possible. While listening, of course, you look at the questions and it will be paraphrased. Yeah. For example, expensive. In the question, it says expensive, but in the recording, it will say it costs a lot or it is pricey, something like that. So you need to find the same meaning. And after listening, of course, you need to transfer. Section 1 is the easiest one. Yeah, it's a conversation. Usually in filling in, yeah, it's kind of not filling type of question. Maybe you need to write the price. You need to write the name of the person. If it's shipping company, how many kilograms? Yeah, that kind of stuff. So if you're not good with spelling, please study. Yeah. A, I, E, these are generally confused ones. Section 2 is a monologue. One person is speaking about a local facility or some kind of event. section 3 is always about education. All right. Maybe students and teachers are talking about a project or an assignment. Yeah. And section 4 will be academic. The most difficult part is section 4, because you hear a part of a lecture. Of course, there will be lots of words that you don't know, and you don't know anything about the subject matter, but don't worry, just focus on the keywords, focus on the information you need for that question. Don't worry about, I don't understand. Maybe you will understand 20%, doesn't matter. You just focus on the question, okay? Yes, underline the keywords, very important. Spelling, we covered these. Okay. I also have some questions to show you here. Together, we can do. The bold ones are the keywords there. I wrote it down to make it easy for you. So what would you hear in the recording? In the questions, it says most like. But in the recording, do you have any guesses, any predictions? Instead of most like, what can you hear? I'm dying for it. Why not? I'm crazy about, yeah. Majority of people like, yeah. Fond of, yes. Maybe their favorite thing. Okay, so before you hear, you need to prepare. You need to prepare yourself. You can take notes. Okay. In the multiple choice, you might hear all of the options, by the way. So you need to be able to distinguish the differences. You can hear something about work. You can hear something about atmosphere. You need to know which one, yeah? That's why the keywords are important. So in the question, it says the staff, the favorite activity of the staff, the favorite thing, I don't have the recording here, but as far as I can remember, their favorite to do is having a lot of work, a lot of different kinds of work. Yeah, so the answer is A. You don't hear the same thing in the multiple choice, all right? And you might hear you might hear all of these options. Don't be confused. Sometimes they change, yeah? They change the answer. They say, for example, let's meet at 5. And then, oh, wait, I have a yoga class at 5. Why don't we meet at 6? Changing. The speaker is changing the answer. Be careful. So this is multiple choice. Okay, for matching questions, again, you need to think about the alternatives. For example, if it is your first time seeing a counselor, maybe you will hear, if you have never met with a counselor before. Okay, first time. All right, anticipate the alternatives. Instead of unable, maybe you will hear can't. Okay, for note completion, actually, you will hear the same word. Don't produce any words from the recording, okay? Don't write it down yourself. You hear it and write it. But of course, the words will be different. For example, it says, which feed on, maybe eat. You will hear eat, okay? For the first blank, do you have any guesses? Let me hear some of your guesses for the first blank before the recording, yeah? So change it into a question. Change it into a question. You can ask yourself, what do birds feed on? What do birds eat? Fish, yes. Worms, yes. Some insects, bugs, something like that, something along those lines, yeah? So you know what to expect. So changing it into a question will help you, I think. Any questions about the listening before we move on to speaking part? Somebody asked a question about accents. Will there be any? No. There will be no strong accents. Standard English, yeah. Don't worry. No, like rough Scottish accent. Especially Scottish, yeah. And one person asked about taking notes. Yeah, you don't need to take notes. You just read the question and underline the keywords because you only hear one time, Arda. Okay? You only hear once. There's no time to take notes. You can just, while you're reading, like we did, yeah, you can take notes about the alternatives, paraphrase, and prediction. And sometimes there's a short break between the answers, for example, 5 seconds, 6 seconds. But sometimes there's a long break, 20 seconds you wait, or 30 seconds you wait. So you need to know, or you need to always have in mind the next keyword. For example, education system. You have Norway, talking about Norway, and the next question is about Japan. So you hear Japan, Japanese, okay, I missed the answer. Now it's time to move on, okay? Always remember the next question. Altogether, you have 40 questions. It depends, sometimes 10, 11, some sections can have. That's it. What happens if there's a technical difficulty? We make sure that there's no technical difficulty like hearing, but don't worry, you always get a chance. Yeah, if there's like a huge problem, yeah, you don't lose your opportunity. Don't worry about it. There is no spare time between sections. I mean, there's a wait time, short wait time. If you need to go to the restroom or something, you can't because you missed the recording, yeah? But for reading and writing part, you can go if you need to go, if you need to take a break, but you will lose time. Timing is very important. I'm not going to play any sample recordings. I wish we had more time. But like I said, go on the website. You will hear the recordings. You can practice. Okay. If there are no other questions, we can move on. Speaking. Okay. For the speaking test, it's done face-to-face, we said, one-on-one. Also on the computer, it is done. So it depends on how you schedule it. Or if you're taking it in Ankara, maybe different conditions. So the office will tell you, yeah, how you will take it. But there will be a real person. You will be interacting. And it will be recorded for fairer assessment purposes. So if you're not happy with your score, you can always ask for reassessment. There will be a charge, yeah? There will be a charge though. And your recording will be assessed again. All right, the criteria is very, very important. if you understand the criteria, because there is no right or wrong answer in the speaking test, yeah? Don't worry about, did I say it right, correct? There's no right or wrong answer. It's about your language abilities, yeah? Your purpose is to show off, yeah, your language abilities. For example, if you ask me, where do you live? If I say to you, I live in Beşiktaş, it's correct, isn't it? I mean, the grammar is correct, but not enough if you want to get a high score. That's why you need to know the criteria. I will explain now. Fluency. Fluency is not about talking fast, first of all. Fluency is about talking at a natural speed without many pauses, yeah? Don't go, this is very bad. If you need time to think, you can say, well, that's a very good question. Let me think about it. You need to keep speaking. If you don't remember a word, what was this? What was sütlaç in English? Okay, just explain. You can say it's a kind of a traditional dessert made with rice and milk. Okay, describe. If you cannot think of a word, you can describe it. And sometimes you make mistakes. You say, she go. She goes. It's okay. You can correct yourself. All right? So fluency is about speaking at a natural speed without pauses. Coherence is about linking, yeah? Your speech needs to be organized and linked. And you stay on topic, you don't change the topic. For lexical resource, we need a wide range of vocabulary, good range of vocabulary, okay? Let me ask you, let's do a quick practice. I want you to describe your favorite movie. Can you give me some adjectives to describe your favorite movie? Not nice. Nice is easy, right? I want funny, okay. Horror, it's a horror movie. I need adjectives, good adjectives, because we want to get 7, we want to get 8. Thrilling is very good, emotional is good, mesmerizing, very good, terrifying, good, dramatic, spectacular, very good. Okay, so avoid simple words. Instead of exciting, you can say thrilling, yeah? It's an action-packed movie, for example. It's a tearjerker. Do you know tearjerker? Makes you cry. Okay, nerve-wracking, good. Gripping, very good. See, you need to show off your vocabulary. You need to use less common words, less common vocabulary to improve your score. Idiomatic expressions. For example, changed my mind. This is like an idiom, isn't it? Don't use idioms like it was raining cats and dogs. It sounds very unnatural. Yesterday it was raining cats and dogs. No, this sounds corny. But you can say that was a milestone in my career. For example, milestone is an idiom. You understand what I mean? You need to use those idiomatic expressions appropriately. If you're not familiar, if you've never used it, don't use it, okay? Make sure you understand the idiom. Idioms are tricky. But if you want to get 7, 8, you need to use less common words. For grammatical range and accuracy, of course, accuracy is important, but we're also looking for a range. Okay, let me go back to the same question. Where do you live? Okay, I live in Beşiktaş. Simple, right? It's a simple sentence. But we want long, more complex. I can say, oh, I have lived in Beşiktaş for 5 years now because my job is located nearby. Because, although, yeah, I'm making longer sentences. Always give like the background information as well. Pronunciation, yes. We said accent doesn't matter. You can keep your Turkish accent, it's okay. But when you speak, it has to be comprehensible. If it's not comprehensible because of your pronunciation mistakes, of course, this is going to affect this criteria negatively. So you receive like separate for each part of the criteria, and then those 4 scores are averaged. Okay, for the first part, you can think of part 1 as a warm-up stage. The questions will be very, very easy. For example, what are your hobbies? Yeah, do you watch television? Do you like to go out? Okay. Or neighborhood, questions about your neighborhood, your school, your job, very, very familiar topics. But always remember the criteria. When you give a response, make sure it is long, it has a wide range of grammatical structures, good vocabulary, okay? I mean, don't think of it like, oh, this is an easy question, the answer is easy. No. Part 2 is, okay, in part 2, you are given a cue card. There will be a card with some points. You should talk about the points that are on the card and talk about other related parts if you want, because you have 1 to 2 minutes uninterrupted speech. It's not interactive. You present, yeah, 1 to 2 minutes, you speak nonstop. If you don't have any practice on this, you can record yourself, you can practice at home, yeah? You can record your voice. Listen to it again. I made some pronunciation mistakes. My word choice was wrong. Maybe I could use this word. So do it over and over until you have a perfect result. Okay. Part 3, actually part 2 and part 3 are loosely related. For example, part 2 is describe your best friend. Yeah. But part 3 is what do you think about friendship? Okay, more abstract. You need to give your opinions. You need to justify your opinion. You need to speculate on issues sometimes. Analyze an issue. I will show you some samples. So this is what we're looking for. You need to communicate your opinions. You need to speak at length, yeah, especially in part 2, where you speak for 1 to 2 minutes. You need to organize your ideas, express and justify your opinions, analyze, discuss, and speculate. Like I said, there's no right or wrong answer. It's all about your opinions, yeah? This is part 1. For example, how often do you watch television? You can, maybe you don't watch television. What are you going to do? If you don't watch television, what are you going to say? Any ideas? You can write in the chat box. Yes, make it up. Doesn't matter. You can lie. You can lie. Lying is not a crime in the IELTS. Or say the truth. You can say, I'm not a huge fan of television. I'd rather watch Netflix. You can say that, why not? Okay, but you can also create a story, doesn't matter. Just focus on your English level, English. And when you say something, you always have to explain it, yeah? Like why not? Don't wait for the examiner to say why not? This is not good, okay? You explain 2-3 sentences. This is part 1, this is part 2. Again, you may not be familiar with the topic. You have never been to a sports event, doesn't matter, yeah? You can create a story. You make sure you take notes, okay? You have 1 minute to take notes. So use that time effectively. You can take bullet point notes, not sentences. Part 3, as you see, it's about your opinions. The challenge here would be not having any ideas. Yes, maybe you've never thought about it. But you can use some others, somebody else's experience. Or you can think of aspects, different aspects or perspectives. For example, sports. You can think of it from a social perspective, from a psychological perspective. Yeah. If it's museums, maybe you can think of it in educational terms. So categorize it. It's just like writing an essay. Yeah. Imagine you're writing an essay. All right. So you need to relax. Don't worry. Just focus on your communication. And answer the questions fully. Don't try to talk too fast. Yeah. Don't use your first language. When you make a mistake, you can always correct them, no problems. Don't memorize, okay? Don't memorize anything because our examiners are trained to detect the memorized answer because the quality of your English falls, yeah, after the sentence. So occasional hesitations are fine, but if you want to get 7, 8, a high score, try not to make any hesitations. Yeah, keep speaking. And sometimes the examiner will interrupt you, no problem. So let me, clarification questions. You didn't understand the question, for example. You can ask for clarification. You can say, I'm sorry, what did you mean by this? Could you please clarify, or could you please repeat? Okay. For part 2, Tuba, you have 1 minute to prepare your speech. Yes, Elif Sueda has a good question. Like, things, stuff. I don't recommend because this is not considered as formal English, yeah? We want to hear good, proper, formal English. So avoid things like. Simge is asking about, I think, listening part. If I write card instead of cards, will I lose marks? Yes, because sentence you produce has to be grammatically correct. Yeah, if it says, for example, many before the blank, if you write many cards, it will be wrong. Many cards. There is no penalty. You can ask clarification questions, but I would I wouldn't overdo it. Yeah, don't overdo it. One question for each part is okay. But if you keep asking for clarification, that means you have some problems with comprehension or with listening. Okay. Do we have more? I will open my other slide. How are we doing for time? It's been 1 hour. Okay, reading and writing. Let me share. Where did it go? I'm so sorry. I didn't close the other one. Okay. Can you see it?
Yes, we can.
Okay, so basically the beginning is the same. No more questions? What was the card means before? You will be given a card, yeah? The question will be on the card for speaking. You cannot change it, by the way. All right, reading. Let me ask, how many people are considered, is everybody taking the academic one? Any general one? If it's general, you can write, so I know. I want to see how many people will take the general training one. I see one person so far. Okay, both. All right, I see just a couple of people are taking general training. All right. It's actually easier. Yeah, general training reading is easier than the academic one, because academic one is taken from books, journals, magazines, like academic material. And the general training one is taken from newspapers, advertisements, magazines, and shorter. Yeah, texts are shorter, which makes it easy. Yes, there will be 3 articles, 3 very long articles, by the way. So that means we don't have time to read everything. Okay, don't try to read everything. It's not possible. So what do we need? If we can't read everything, what do we need to get a good score in the reading part? Scanning, skimming, yes, very good. We need those reading strategies. We need some strategies, skimming, scanning, yeah. Reading the questions first, yes. I actually recommend you just take a look to take a look at the text to get the gist, yeah, maybe 30 seconds. What is this text about? And then read the questions, yeah. Yes, we need the keywords, very good. And underlining the keywords. Because we need to detect the related part, yeah? The question deals with a certain particular part. So we just focus on that. If we try to understand each word, everything, it will be a waste of time. Timing is the most important thing in the reading part. So if you are preparing for the IELTS on your own, make sure you time yourself. When you're studying, time yourself. Don't give yourself unlimited time. Okay, 20 minutes for each text. And there will be no additional transfer time. So you have 1 hour to answer 40 questions. There will be no penalty. There is no penalty for incorrect answers. So if it's multiple choice or if it's true, false, not given, just take a guess. Okay, don't leave anything blank. This is for general training. We have 2 or 3 short texts, and section 2 texts, 2 short ones, and section 3 1 long text. We have many question types, so you need to work with practice tests. Which one do you find most difficult? I want to see. This is also good for me. I want to see what test takers think. Which question type is difficult for you? Summary. Mm-hmm. Two people said summary. Sentence completion, diagram. Summary, interesting. I usually get the answer true, false, not given. Okay, diagram. I will be showing you some. Of course, we don't have time. We need a longer workshop for this. So we have surveying, skimming, scanning. So quickly, let me explain. Surveying is taking a look at the text, getting the general meaning. This text is about Aztecs. Yeah, this text is about life cycle of a bird. I don't know. So you get the general idea. This is called surveying. Skimming is you read the first sentence of each paragraph, yeah, to get the main idea for each paragraph. And for scanning, we are looking for a piece of information. It's similar to, for example, trying to find somebody's phone number in a phone book, somebody's name. Yeah, it's like you are trying to locate that particular word. For example, Nobel Prize. In the question, we have Nobel Prize, so we quickly scan the text to find Nobel. And then, of course, you need to do intensive reading after you locate the related part. So let's take a look at some question types. I have here true, false, not given. We need to find the keyword or words. What are the keywords? This is the statement. Marie Curie's husband was a joint winner of both Marie's Nobel Prizes. You can use the chat box. Both, very good. So we actually know there are 2 Nobel Prizes. When we see both, 2 Nobel Prizes. So we need to look for both. Maybe a date, something like that, yeah? And when we look at the text, we see 1903, 1911. Yeah. So also joint is good. Joint winner, like they won together, not alone. Together, yeah, joint winner. So change it into a question. You can say, was Marie Curie's husband a joint winner? Change it into a question. If your answer is yes, it's true. If your answer is no, it is false. You understand what I mean? Was he a joint winner, or did Marie Curie win the prize herself alone? So what is the right answer here? You can write in the chat box. Yes, false. Very good, because she was the sole winner, alone, on her own. Okay. Similar, I'm going to skip this one. For multiple choice, of course, paraphrasing is important, paraphrasing. So here we have Norway. Read the question first. In the question, it says, what were the findings of research? So we know there was a research in Norway. Firstly, you find Norway, yeah? And it says findings. So our question, the information we're looking for is, what did they find? What did the study reveal? Yeah? So we find the related part and we read, it says, blah, blah, blah, blah, intervention campaign, suggested that. So we know after suggest, there's the result. Yeah, suggested that, revealed that. It says over a 2-year period, bullying was halved. So you read intensively, like you focus on this part, and then you go to the choices. Don't try to read the choices, find the keyword. It's a waste of time. First, understand the text, the statement in the text, and then go to the choices and eliminate. Yeah. So what is the right answer? A, yes. Very good. It's directly a paraphrased version, isn't it? Declined by 50% means it was halved. For sentence completion or for summary completion, yeah? If it's like a summary in a summary format, you can, firstly, this is important, find what each paragraph is about. For example, it is about life cycle of a bee, okay? So you have stages, for example, when it is an adult, when it is an infant or baby bee or something. So when you read the sentence, you know which paragraph you should go back to, okay? For summary completion, first understand what each paragraph is about. And then read the question, read the summary, okay? It works better. So we underline the keywords, yeah? What are the keywords here? It says, let me see the chat box. Are you writing answer? Okay. Here we have, they cannot describe smell. Yes, this is the reason, because. So there's a correlation. Yeah? There's a reason. Yeah, there's a cause and effect type of situation. So again, we need to find the same in the text. So it explains because. Yeah, here we have because. Saying it's not changed, which is good. It says the specific vocabulary simply doesn't exist. So if you know what lack is, you know that it doesn't exist. Yeah, if something lacks, there's no such thing. So lack means doesn't exist, appropriate, like specific vocabulary. Yeah. So the answer is okay. Very good. The answer is vocabulary, not word or words, because take the word from the text. Don't produce any words, okay? From the text. If it is computer, you can even copy paste. Okay? So when you fill in, yeah, when you write vocabulary here, you make sure the sentence is accurate. You cannot say, for example, vocabularies. That would be wrong. Because vocabulary is uncount, yeah? So follow the instructions, check spelling, very important, but spelling is easy because it is from the text. Yeah. Find evidence for true, false, not given, and make sure the answer is grammatically accurate when you fill in. And of course, attempt all the questions. Don't spend too long on one passage. So you have like 1 minute. Yeah, you have 40 questions. You have about roughly 1 minute. If you're spending too much, just skip that, put a mark, and at the end, go back. I forgot to mention, actually, there are 3 texts, but one text will be more difficult. Okay? Maybe the first one, maybe the second one, maybe the third one. So one of the texts will be more difficult than the others. Here are some reading sources that we have on British Council's website. You can use them. So any questions? Let me see. Yes, we of course recommend the official practice test. Especially if you have short time to prepare, don't read anything else, just do the practice test. But if you have a long period of time, of course, choose the subjects that you're most interested in. You know, you can read journals, magazines, you're more relaxed. But if you have like 1 month, just focus heavily on practice tests. Any other questions? Reading is not scary, I think. Once you find the keyword, the rest is about paying attention, being careful about the meaning. And of course, vocabulary, yeah? If you have, if you don't have good vocabulary skills, you will not, for example, we had, what was that? Joint or sole. If you don't know joint, it's going to be tough. Yes, you can skip a text and return. Yes, turn back. Yeah, why not? Okay, back on, you choose academic and general training at the very, very beginning, before you register. When you register, you can choose. They're asking questions about the website. I don't know. There will be a recording. You will post the recording.
Yes, we will send the recording afterwards.
Are you ready for the writing part? Ready or not? Okay, so we have 2 tasks. Altogether, you have 1 hour. Recommended time is 20 minutes for task 1 and 40 minutes for task 2. Recommended, yeah? But I would say not less than 40 minutes for task 2. Don't try to, okay, this is how they do it. Task 1, task 2, okay, 30 minutes, 30 minutes. So wrong, because task 2 is more important, yeah? It contributes to your score twice as much as task 1. So task 1 is like 33%, task 2 is like 66% of your score. Task 2 is more important, okay? So make sure you have plenty of time to write a full-blown essay. Task 1 is like this paragraph. It's not much, 150 words. There is no upper limit, by the way. You can write 200, 250, but we don't recommend because maybe you are losing task achievement and coherence. It's a summary, okay? So if you write too much, it's not a summary anymore. In the task, it says summarize, all right? So make sure you stick to these word counts. 200 is fine. Yeah, 200, 210 is fine. But don't go up to 250. And for task 2, 300, I would say is okay. But not more than 300. Minimum is important, okay? Because you get a penalty for underlength. So task 1 is not an essay. Task 1 is basically reporting. Yeah, reporting or describing a chart, diagram. Could be a pie chart, line graph, process, map, double chart sometimes. Actually, if you have little time to study, focus on double chart. It's more common. For general training, you write a letter. This could be a letter of complaint, invitation, apology, application. Okay? It actually tells you what the letter should cover. So make sure you cover all those points. And organization is easy because it tells you, for example, describe the situation and give a recommendation or refuse the invitation. Okay, so you introduce yourself in the letter, the reason, the purpose of the letter, why you're writing, and then create this story. Make sure you're using the right register, like formal, informal. If it's a letter to your friend, it's an informal letter. But if it's a letter for a company or you're writing to your boss, it should be formal. Okay, assessment is very, very important because a lot of people think, oh, I have good grammar, I didn't make any grammatical mistakes, I did good spelling, blah, blah, blah. But that doesn't guarantee you 9. Yeah, that doesn't guarantee you a high score. Vocabulary and grammar, only 50%. Do you see? All of them, 25%. Vocabulary, grammar, only 50%. And 25%, this is very important, task achievement. Most test takers lose points from this because they don't read and understand the task. So it's not a waste of time. Take your time, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, try to understand what the task requires, what they want, yeah? Cohesion, coherence, very important, and it is related to what? Let me ask you. How can you increase your cohesion, coherence? It's about linking, yeah? It has to be organized, it has to be linked, the sentences are linked, the paragraphs are linked, yes, linking words. So what do you need to do? Before you start writing, what do you need to do? Write immediately or, yes, brainstorming, very good. You need to brainstorm. You need to make a plan. If you don't plan, you lose 25% of your score. Okay, this is how important it is. Make sure you plan your writing. It's not a waste of time, okay? You cannot risk it. You cannot just rely on your, I have a lot of ideas, I'll just write them down. No, there is a certain format, there is a certain process. For example, introduction. You can't just start writing immediately. You need to introduce the topic, okay? You need to say your opinion. And then body paragraphs, you need to support your thesis. 1 paragraph, 1 idea, isn't it? 1 paragraph, 1 idea. So the rest is about evidence, giving examples. So don't try to put too many ideas. Don't make it confusing, okay? When the examiner reads your paper, they should understand what your opinion is. So you need to remain consistent. You need to present a clear progression. This happens a lot. For example, nuclear war is a threat. Do you think nuclear energy is a threat? Yeah. And you don't say your opinion. You start talking about Chernobyl. You start talking about radiation problem. No. Do you agree, disagree, and why? Okay. In the body part, you need to present good ideas and support them. Of course, irrelevant ideas will be assessed in cohesion part. Yeah, cohesion, coherence means relevance, connectedness, you know. Ben says a question, 2 body paragraphs. At least 2, I would say. Introduction, 2-3 body paragraphs, and conclusion. Punctuation is important. Yes, you get a score for that. Punctuation, spelling. So, task achievement, cohesion, coherence. I hope everyone got it. Lexical resource is about vocabulary. You need to use a wide range of vocabulary, less common words, yeah. For grammatical range, you need good structures, advanced grammar. You can use if, relative clauses, conjunctions, yeah. Okay, this is task 1. As you see, this is the question. The graph below shows the different modes of transport used to travel, blah, blah, blah. Can we copy this? Can we copy this part when we're writing? Can I just write on the graph shows? No. You have to paraphrase. So you can say, instead of graph, the diagram, yeah? Instead of show, you can say demonstrate, illustrate, represent, compares, yeah? Change this. Instead of different modes of transport, you can say how people traveled, yeah? Or various kinds of transportation, you can say. Instead of travel to and from work, you can use commute, yeah? All right, change. You need to change. So what is the task about? This is what the chart is about. Here we have the task. It says summarize. So that means we cannot describe every trend. We need to be selective. You need to select the information by selecting and reporting the main features and make comparisons. Okay, so I have to compare. What can I compare here? I can compare 2 things or 3 things. I don't know. You tell me. You can write. You can compare the years. So you need to choose. Yeah, you need to choose how you want to classify this information. You can choose years, for example, 1960, 1980, 2000. I'm comparing those 3 years. Or you can compare bus, car, bike, foot. Do you understand? Choose how you want to classify the information. I would say years is easier because there are 3, but bus, car, bike, foot, 4. Yeah, I think 3 is easier to write. So you need to select, for example, 1960. What's going on, you know, in 1960? Compare all of them. 1980, is there any unusual trend? of course, the highest, lowest, or what kind of change occurred after 1960. So before you start writing, have your pen or paper and highlight. Yeah? Highlight on the chart, the points that you want to cover. Okay, so let's talk about the process. First sentence, paraphrase. What is the second sentence? What is the second sentence? No ideas? Am I too boring? Everyone's fallen asleep. Okay, very important. Overview. You need to find the most significant information, the most outstanding information. So imagine this. Okay, how can I find the overview? You're thinking, oh, there are many kinds of how can I find the overview? Think about, like, you have your boss, yeah, and you have statistics or these charts, you know, at work, and your boss says, okay, you have one sentence to give me. What is the chart about? Okay, you need to just say one sentence to summarize. This is the most important one. For instance, in this case, what is the overview? Is there anything unusual? Is there anything, any huge changes that you have to mention? Or general trends? Maybe everything is the same. If everything is the same, unusual, everything is usual, okay, this is also overview. But we see an upward trend, for example, in car. However, a downward trend in foot. Do you see? So you need to mention this. This is your overview. Okay? So you can say, throughout the period, the number of people who preferred to walk declined significantly. You need to use good vocabulary, yeah? Decline, drop, fall, rise, increase. Study the vocabulary for task 1. There are too many resources. Just one sentence overview, okay? Later, we go on to summarize the points. For example, in 1960, and compare. Of course, you can say the percentage of people who use cars dropped by 20%. In contrast, similarly, however, the number of blah, blah, blah was higher, or it decreased from 20 to 10. Okay, giving data. You need to give data and compare. Finish. This is all. You don't need a conclusion. It's optional. Conclusion is optional, but overview is the summary. Yeah, it's a must. You must write the overview. It could be one paragraph or more. At least one paragraph. There is no paragraphing rule in task 1. One paragraph is enough. Yeah. If you want, you can introduce and then write the body part. 2 paragraphs also possible. 3 is also possible. Any questions about task 1? Use the right tense. If it's like this one is past, 1960, 1980, 2000. Past tense, yeah? If it is 2030, future. Read the question carefully, understand the format. Are we dealing with millions? Are we dealing with numbers, percentages? Overview. keep to the time limit, at least 150 words. And of course, at the end, check for your typical mistakes. So you have 20 minutes. I would say 4 minutes would go to analyzing and planning, yeah? This is general training writing task 1, as I said, this is the letter. So you include all of these points and choose the right register, informal, formal. In this case, this is formal. Of course, again, you need to plan, like, there's a public transport company. What could be the problems? But every time you say something, you need to explain, of course. Okay, task 2. Any questions about task 1? Please look at the model answers, sample answers, because sometimes you have a process chart, yeah? In the process chart, we have a different, of course, we have the same process. Again, we introduce and we talk about the overview, for example, 5 stages, 6 stages. And then we describe the important actions in the process. But we need sequence, like firstly, in the subsequent stage, finally, this is how you present. If it's a map, for example, 20 years ago, one town, and now. So you find the changes. What happened, yeah? Maybe some housing was eliminated. Maybe there was, it was replaced by something. So you find them in the map and write them down. No questions about task 1? Study the vocabulary for task 1. You can find them easily. Okay, task 2 is more important. We said it's an essay. Always in task 2, IELTS task 2, there is a fact and a question. Okay? Factual statement is this: countries are becoming more and more similar because people are able to buy the same products anywhere in the world. This is the subject, the topic of your essay. Okay? Where do we use this information? Yes, in the introduction. But of course, we don't use the same words. We need to paraphrase, change, and extend, yeah? Add more things. But the introduction shouldn't be too long, okay? Very important. How long is the introduction paragraph? Any ideas? How many words? 250 words altogether. How many words do you think for the introduction part? 50, 60 is good. Yeah? 50, 60 is good. We just need you to introduce the topic. In this case, countries are becoming globalization, right? And then we answer the question. The question is this: do you think this is a positive or negative development? Yeah? So we need to take sides. But firstly, before we take sides, take this topic and brainstorm. Yes, brainstorm ideas. 2-3 minutes brainstorming, okay? And then you can select the most important ones. First, brainstorm. And then say, maybe globalization is not so positive. Okay, so you make up your mind. This is your thesis. Your thesis is how you answer this question. This is the question. Your thesis is what you think. You can say, I think. You can use the word I think, no problem. It's about your opinion. You can say, I think it's a negative development, blah, blah, blah, give the reason. And then body part, you need 2-3 ideas. Why do you think it's positive? Why do you think it's negative? Yeah. So you can think of 3 reasons and then support it with details. Like, how did globalization hurt local communities? If you think it's a negative development, local shops. Like we have McDonald's and then we have local burger shop. Yeah, you can give examples, or you can think about cheap labor. Yeah, how it is, how people are exploited around the world, like cheap work. Yeah, in China. So you have one idea for each paragraph, and then the rest is about expanding on it. You need to remain consistent for coherence. Okay, so planning is an essential part of essay writing. Without a plan, you lose half a band, 1 point, you lose, seriously. But if you plan, your score will definitely go up. Definitely. So you need to give reasons for your answer and relevant examples, your knowledge or experience. So you can use, if you read an article about it, you can use this information, why not? Or give examples from your own experience. So you need to analyze the question. You need to express a clear position. Don't change your opinion. In your thesis, you say it's negative, for example, and in the body part, positive ideas. No, you need to be consistent. Organizing. Read the question carefully, like reading the question and planning. Maybe 5 minutes, yeah, but it's not a waste of time. It's going to contribute to your score in the end. So you can plan your essay depending on the question type. If it says, for example, discuss both views and give your opinion. For example, studying like online education. Some people think online education is better than the other, like traditional. So you discuss what do people think for the first view and how you support it, and then the other, the counter arguments, whatever, and then give your opinion. This is how you plan it. Using paragraphing clearly. Each paragraph is about something. Yeah, there needs to be a topic sentence. Don't repeat ideas. No bullet points. Stick to the topic. Use a formal register. Okay. Formal academic English. And always have like 2 minutes at the end to check your work for mistakes. Efe has a question. It says, to what extent? Yeah, you can say, I agree completely, I disagree completely, or you can be neutral also. But if you say, I am neutral in your thesis and in your body part you contradict, that's not good for coherence. Do you understand, Efe? If you say, I'm neutral, you stick with it. The most common essay type for task 2, usually opinion. Yeah. Problem solution, this is easier to plan, I think. Okay, there's a traffic problem. What are the solutions? Well, so you have separate paragraph for each. Ada says, you can write, I agree. Yes, I think. You can say, I think this is a positive development, for example. Thank you. So quickly, let's take a look at test day do's and don'ts. Please arrive in good time. Yeah, you have the right ID with you, which means if you use your passport in registration, bring your passport. If you use your ID with your identification card, bring it. Okay. Don't bring anything. Your personal stuff will be stored in a room. You can receive them at the end. No cheating. These are some preparation materials. If you want, you can take a screenshot. I recommend you to try Road to IELTS. If you register with the British Council, you get a free version, okay? Or you can pay for it without registering. On Future Learn, there's a preparation course. There's a paid version and free version. You can watch videos, do practice tests. It's interactive, yeah. Also, we have applications for vocabulary and preparation. There are books and study guides. So thank you for joining me today. I wish you all receive the score you desire. Good luck, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your great preparation webinar. And we also wish all the success for all the students during the IELTS examinations. And have a nice evening for everyone. Thanks.
Yes, have a nice evening. Thank you.
Have a nice evening. Thank you for your presentation.
Bye.